Sam Scott-Thorne. Hello.
In the flesh.
How you doing, man? It's really good to see you.
Nice to see
I want
you.
to let everyone know that we've pretty much just met like 5 minutes ago.
2 seconds ago.
2 seconds ago.
I just crashed in late.
We interact in different speeds of time. So for you that was 2 seconds ago, that was 5 minutes for me.
What being hyper does to you.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
It's all good, man.
I'm excited.
I feel like this is like a natural thing that was supposed to happen. Like we've been in the same sort of circles for a long time now.
It totally has. It's been like a long time coming.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When I came down, I was like, do you go like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm the person that you've spoken to for ages and ages and ages online. Like it has been
It's
years.
changed, man. That seems to be like the way people are interacting in general these days.
It's the new normal now, isn't it?
So I like see your face a lot as well. I see you singing, I see you talking, and so I feel like I've already met you in some weird way.
It's the openness.
This might be like edited. We might be like, you might be already have recorded this yesterday and we've just like spliced them together.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope
that'd
so.
Be cool, man. I wanted to kind of talk to you because like we're both singers and you're like professionally a singer.
So are you.
I have a singing job.
Do it for money. That's professional.
Yeah, but you know what you're doing, man. So like I thought it would be cool to like maybe talk to you just about stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I was watching your last episode and you were talking about a bong. Yeah.
Oh, my steamer.
Yeah.
My Dr. Nelson steamer. Yeah, so that's just like a really old school device for like hydrating your vocal folds. Nowadays they have like these like super duper like masks that light up blue and they like spray vapor at you. It's much better, but I'm just like nasty. No. Give me the thing from like the 1800s.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Was it always used for singing or was it?
I think it's like one of those like ye olde medicinal devices. Right. But yeah, the thing is when you like record on a video and people see this big ceramic bowl with like a tube coming out of it and I'm going
Is this Joe Rogan?
Yeah, everyone thought I was stoned out my nut. And I was on heavy painkillers at the time, so I probably looked stoned out my nut as well.
All the better.
I know.
Open you up to a new audience.
Makes videos that much more entertaining when you have no scope of time or space.
Yeah. Your channel seems to be blown up just now, man.
It's gone daft. It's gone absolutely crazy.
What space of time has that happened in? You've been doing this, is it a year you've been doing it or over that?
Not quite, just about.
Right,
so I had a YouTube channel like probably most people that are musical for like 100,000 years. And you do like one or two things, you're like, yeah, and then you just don't do anything with it. So it was like 10 years ago, I put a couple of covers on. And then I just decided, like once I'd done kind of a little bit of singing training and stuff and could identify what people were doing, I thought I'm going to like watch popular singers and see what I can like find. Okay. But more than I'd like watched a few and they were super technical and I don't really work like that. Like I think if you're not bringing in equal parts like technique and then like emotional integrity, you kind of like you can kind of lose an audience one way or the other if you're too much of one or too much of the other. So I was like, I'm going to try and see what happens. But I'd actually gone in initially and I wanted to talk about vocal styles and get other singers in to talk with me and kind of blend those two things, but it just went insane. There was so many people commenting, asking me to check out loads of artists in Asia and all over. So
that's cool because that gives you, like, sometimes I get lost in thinking what should I talk about or what should I write about, and if you've got people tuning in actually giving you, you know, subjects or like people to go and watch, then you've got content that you can create from.
Absolutely.
And it's at the demand of your audience as well.
It completely changed the direction of what I was like wanting to do, but for the better, I would say. Like I didn't really realize that was something that I would necessarily be good at. Yeah. But yeah, if there's one thing that like has stuck with me, it's just like listen to what you're being told by like the people that watch you. Okay. So if they're like, oh, go and check that out, just do it. You might not really enjoy it in the meantime, but it kind of develops into something else.
Yeah, like I've started noticing with this that you don't really know how it's going until you watch it back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like the interviews anyway. Like the first one I done was with my friend Damo, and I just felt like I was having a conversation.
Was that when you were
with
sitting
him.
on the black couches?
Yeah, and I just felt like I was having a conversation with him, and I watched it back, and I was like, that looks nothing like what I feel our friendship is like. It was just really weird. It felt like just so intense. I don't know. It was weird.
I know. You do kind of have to like just turn yourself up a tiny little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Because what you think is like wild is probably like doesn't translate as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything's slightly more muted once you've got a camera in front of you.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like that flappy arm clown guy. But no, the channel itself has gone from, I had 33 subscribers in April of last year, and I'm just about to get to 50,000.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's been completely loose as well. Like, I've not had any structure to it. Like, I know a lot of YouTubers, and I watched a few videos on like how to build, and they're all like, get a routine, set your days, do your this, do your that. And I was like, nah, I've got like a 3-year-old who's ill all the time, and you know, I gig, and then I've got students and everything. I'm like, I'm just going to do it when I have a bit of free time. Yeah. So it's not been like super consistent, but God, I'd be like,
it still seems like you're putting out a lot of content though. Do you film like more than one video at one time?
Yes, yeah. Right, so cool. What I'll do, this is like a trade secret, is I'll just go and change my clothes. Or like I'll do a couple in one outfit, and then I'll go and change. I'll sit down, do another couple in another outfit, and then we'll change. That's a great idea. And then I just release them at different times, and then I'll sometimes like just move my hair so it looks slightly different.
Cool.
But it's the only way that I can look like I'm doing them every single day.
Right.
Or like it looks really organic, whereas when you've got kids, don't you?
Yeah.
So you know, like when you've got a window of time when there's no kids about and stuff, you're like
try and get as much done as possible.
Yeah, you just like stack all the work. So that's what I do.
Amazing, man. Do you watch Davey 504? He's a bass player.
No.
He's got a channel that's it's more like Top Gear for musicians. Do you know what I mean? It's about bass, but it's not really about bass. It's just like entertainment. But he like addresses the fact that he'll say in the video 1 week later, but he'll address the fact that like, oh, I definitely didn't just change my clothes there. Do you know what I mean? Turns it into like a thing. But yeah, I was wondering how you done it, because I suppose there's not like a linear story between your videos, so you can get away with you could shoot like 50.
No, the only time I will is if I'm doing, like there's one that's coming up, and there's one that's just been released where I watched a studio recording, which I don't like to do because you can't tell what's been like edited in post.
Yeah.
Versus them doing it live, which was really funny because there was so many issues, like there's feedback issues, and one of them clearly couldn't hear himself in the monitor and just shut down, put his hand in his pocket, and was like, looked raging. So with that, like I'll let them know I'm going to do the second part, and then I'll just go straight on. I'll just be wearing the same stuff, so don't worry too much about that. And then there's one, but I can't remember if I changed clothes, where it was a transition, a gender transition. So I looked at when they first became famous as a female, and then singing again as a male, which is kind of interesting. But I can't remember if I changed my clothes.
That must... I'll need to watch that episode just to get an idea of how that...
I think they'll come out this week.
I take it if they're taking the... What's it called?
Testosterone?
Yeah. It would change the...
It changes everything, really. Like, the tone kind of deepens. Obviously, your voice will kind of drop, and you'll lose that kind of top frequency. Okay. And this person, when they were female, had this super high belty voice. She was doing like Celine Dion songs and stuff. So to then like hear this different character almost, not that it's a character, but like the different kind of voice character. Yeah, it was really interesting.
That's crazy, man. That's nuts. The one like it's on that particular subject I'd watched. Was it a singer from the Philippines that you were looking at?
I watch a lot of singers from the Philippines.
There was one that was like, if you'd looked away, you'd have sworn it was a female.
Marcelita Pomoy.
Yeah.
So he's actually in America at the moment. He's doing America's Got Talent. I don't think he won though. and the Filipinos are raging.
Really?
Raging about, yeah, they think it's all a setup.
Right, okay.
Which, I mean, it is. Like, every talent show's a setup.
Yeah.
Really. Like, you get the good edit or the bad edit. Have you ever gone in for one?
Yeah, well, like, I've sort of been avoiding, like, having the intention of talking about having been on it, but also avoiding saying which one it was.
The reveal.
Because like I want to go into detail about it. I can maybe talk to you about it, man.
Well, just gloss over it and then do your detailed episode.
I've auditioned for a couple, right?
Right.
So this is still quite vague, right? So nobody knows.
Okay.
You have to sign a contract when you're there, which basically is a sort of like an NDA.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So nobody's going to know which one this is, right? which show it was, but
guess in the comments.
What I seen when I was there was one of the producers walking about with a sheet that miraculously had the faces of the people that made it to the lives.
Oh, surprise!
While I was at like second stage of this competition.
It's all kind of heavily kind of marketed.
Yeah.
And now that they let managed acts go in, like a lot of it's kind of done before anyone even gets to the venue. So I've done 2 different shows, and each time I've gotten to the point of like filming but not in front of the celebrity people, and one which I won't name but is the 3rd last letter of the alphabet and then carries on a little bit. Is that the 3rd last letter? Have I just made myself look stupid? No, it is. So I got through, they just do rounds and rounds and rounds. So the first one's like a cattle call, and you kind of go into this, like, it was the SECC when I did it.
Yeah.
Thousands of you, all just kind of getting marched through this, like, great. And then there's, like, all these wee pods. So you get through that bit, you get told to come back the next day, then you go do another bit, and you get told to come back the next day, and then you film in front of producers. I think that's the order, something like that. But I was sat in a queue, like, we were sat waiting to go into this room that looked like heaven. It was so brightly lit, it was crazy. It was just like, oh God, they're taking me off to kill me. And there was like girl singer, me, like super tiny teenage boy, then like full on like guy with complete like not mental problems. He was like handicapped, mentally handicapped. And I'm sitting there, and I auditioned with a girl who was a great singer, and she hadn't got through the round before, and she was arguably a better singer than I was, like way better. So we're sitting, we're kind of watching them all go in one by one, and the mentally handicapped guy went in, and you can hear him because it's just like you're just sitting outside a room, and it just sounded like wailing. This was not good. And his daughter had to come and collect him because he wouldn't have been able to find his way out of the venue. And I was like, so he's gotten through to like the 3rd stage, and that's purely just to rip him to bits. Like if he got onto the stage, he'd be one of those ones that's like hilarious, ha 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 ha. Whereas, and it was that moment that the penny kind of dropped, and I was like, this isn't really it's got a certain amount to do with your talent, but at the same time, it's an entertainment show.
I don't know if you felt like this, right, with that letter of the alphabet and actor.
Actor fee.
But I sort of knew before walking into those shows, right, that there was an aspect of it. You feel that when you're watching it. You feel like this is fucking rigged. Like you're saying, the folk from the Philippines, they're probably thinking this is definitely rigged.
They've like made little videos where they've like tied his t-shirts, and they've like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But it's like, it's not supposed to.
When I got there, when it like, it was just, I could tell that it was more like, like you're saying, that penny dropping moment for me was realising that actually what they were trying to do was that the people that get you on the show aren't actually involved in the music industry. They're casting agents. Yeah. So they'll like, what I think happens is they'll write roughly who they want to have on it, a character that they want to have on it, and they'll just go and audition people until they find that character and match them up with it. Because someone I became quite close friends with while I was there, it turned out he was getting asked all the same things that I was, and pushed towards revealing certain aspects. Character. And we obviously ended up becoming friends because we're just quite similar people.
Mm-hmm.
But the story that they were trying to push with me was sort of similar to what ended up being revealed about him.
Right.
And I just was kind of resistant towards. I just didn't want to go down that road, man. Like,
I had exactly the same issue.
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely feel like people were almost like trying to slap trauma onto you.
Yeah.
Like the years that I auditioned for that first show, was right in the middle of, you know, like Coldplay over everything. Like, everything's so sad. Everyone's like struggling. Oh, my hamster died. And they were like, oh, so like tell me about like times that you've really, really struggled. And at that point I was like, I don't know, like a 19-year-old kid or something. Like, yeah. And I was just like, nah, I just like bounced about in that. Like, so I went in like moonshine, lollipops, and they were like, get out. Like, if you're not going to cry, leave. Ish. But then I did another audition for a show which kind of fell in my lap. So now they'll like look for singers. So now that they add Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, they'll like go scouring for people. So I was like scouted, if you want, and the whole time it was just like, so you're like a gospel singer, yeah? And I was like, well, no, not really. And he's like, but if I said, can you sing this song, could you do it? And I was like, oh yeah, probably.
It sounds like an interrogation.
No,
trying
like,
to pin you on something.
They were
so you murder people, don't you?
I'm like Brendan Dassey, just sitting there, yeah, I can be a soul singer, yeah. But yeah, they're properly like, it was so transparent. Like, this is the role we need of like white soul singer. Take it.
Right.
So I did like a bunch of stuff, but I don't know. There's so many facets to the voice now, like, and not the show, like the human voice.
Yeah.
Whereby now I don't see things so cut and dry anymore. So yeah, you could be a rock singer, but there's so many tones in your voice that could like lend itself to something else. And
yeah, Lewis Capaldi seems to have opened up the door in that respect.
You've got a connection to Lewis, don't you?
Yeah, I think you do as well.
I was a backing singer
both
for
get a Lewis Capaldi story. Sounds like it's some sort of fucking group.
The Lewis Capaldi support group.
How we never made it.
He was a nice guy, though.
I supported Lewis like at his first. It wasn't his first gig because he'd obviously been gigging before it. But I think when they rebranded everything to move in the direction where he's going, he'd released Bruises before he'd done this gig. Yeah. And it was to a sold out King Tut's. It's like maybe 200, 300 people there.
Amazing.
And that's But at the time, I don't even he thought he was going to end up where he did.
I was post Bruises, pre everything else. Yeah. But it was Transmit. It was the first Transmit.
Right, cool.
So that's why they were like, I think they wanted backing singers.
On stage with him, right?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So we walked in and he was just in the little, it was in the Berkeley suite.
Right.
So we walked in, they're just all kind of thingying about. And they'd sent me a private SoundCloud link. Now, no like words, no lyrics or anything to work from. So I had to sit and write them. And I don't know if anyone's ever sat and tried to properly write down what Lewis Capaldi is singing, because it's hard as hell. So I was like, what is he saying? Like, because his jaw like flaps about and stuff over loads of phrases. So I went in and I was like, what is this you're trying to say here? Because I cannot. It's something about ham and ghosts. Like, I don't know what. And he was like, I don't remember. Yeah. He was like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's about ham and ghosts.
So there's a song about ham and ghosts. That was it's one of mine. No. But yeah, we went in and it was me and two other girls, Susie and Rachel, and we were like, what is it that you're looking for?
Was that a group that you'd put together, or were they just...
No, we've been put together.
Right, okay.
So I'd never met either of them, which is kind of a common thing with singers, though, is that you do get put in with folk you've never met before, and it's nice. It's a nice way to build harmony. You make friends really quickly with people when you have to, like, do vocal harmonies with folk. Yeah. I find it's just one of those weird connection things. But yeah, he had no idea what he was wanting vocal wise, so we went and found another room and like listened to his
That's cool, man. So you had a bit of creative freedom.
Yeah, we just built our own harmonies around it.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's good. good gig as they go.
What about so Brotherman's your...
It's my baby.
Sort of, function and...
Function band, yeah. So there's 6 of us. I'm one of the vocals, then we've got Kaylee, who's also on vocals, and then it's drums, keys, bass and guitar. Yeah. Drums is usually Ian, he runs the band with me. So we actually made the band at the same time. We both had young kids, wanted to start a band that could get really busy, and Ian's one of those people, like, I don't think I'd be anywhere near where I am today without Ian. Yeah. He, like, just drives me. But then Ian's like a crazy horse. He goes all over the place, and I'm like, whoa! So we've kind of got that push and pull, and it's just really worked. Like, I've since spoken to a lot of people that are in bands, and they can't, they all hate each other, they can't work together, and all sorts of other like nonsense. And I'm like, we just don't really have that, because we're very opposite but very complementary. Right. So Brotherman was born out of that, and we just have a good time.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, lots of like technical-ish stuff to kind of keep us like interested.
Yeah, like from the videos that I'd seen, it's all like really big. Not a lot of bands would approach the songs that you tend to approach, but you've got the capability for it.
And we don't rehearse either, which is the funny thing, is that we just send stuff out and then come together and see what happens. Yeah. And we don't overdub anything either. So it's all just like, we'll do, say, like 5 takes, and then you have to sacrifice, say, your best vocal if the guitar sounds better, or likewise. Right. A really good guitar solo might get patched because the vocals sound crisper. It's like, it's a horrific thing, but it almost kind of drives you to like hit a standard every single time.
Totally, man.
But yeah,
I can tell that from watching your YouTube videos as well, though. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like I've gotten to the furthest point that I can with my vocals.
Never.
Like, I don't technically know what I'm doing though. but I guess what I'm saying is that like I'm kind of trumped by my own knowledge of what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. But when I watch you seem to have surpassed that because of the knowledge you've got.
Well, funny that you should describe it like that, because before I was a vocal coach, I sang all the time, and people are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, just do it. Yeah. I could do all the things, and I'm quite good at imitating different stuff, but to like describe what's happening like in your body was like, I had no idea. So then I went and did this course called Distill, right. And it breaks everything down. It's more like a vocal model than a singing style. So you can kind of you can put it into any facet where you're using your voice. So it could be singing, could be like rock singing, pop singing, opera singing, or speaking, public speaking, or whatever else, being like a caller at boxing or whatever. It just kind of works. So once I had that, it kind of felt like I'd been given a passport. Like I was like, I can go anywhere now. Like I know what I'm doing, and I know how to translate that into like digestible pieces of information for other folk.
How long was the course? Was it an
5 days.
Was it online or?
No. So you book. There's like master teachers, and there's only one in Scotland, and she does like a couple of courses a year. So I did that course, and then that kind of put me on the path to become a vocal coach. And now I'm going back. That's where I was, why I'm late today. Right, cool. Is I'm going in to do my EFP, which is a still figure proficiency. Basically just to show that you know how to do all of the things. There's 25 different techniques, I suppose you would say. And then I'm going to go on from there and do master training.
That's crazy, man.
I would help other people get...
Do you play an instrument credited. As well?
No.
Like, I know your vocals is an instrument. No,
no, my vocals lie in my face, right. And that's it.
Awesome.
I did try lots of stuff as a kid. Right. Tried saxophone, guitar, flute, bass, drums, keys, and nothing stuck because I'm too like scatterbrained. Yeah. So when I found out there's an instrument inside my face, I was like, oh cool, I can't escape it. It's here all the time. Yeah. So I just did full-time facing.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So what about do you have like a knowledge of notation? Like, can you read music and stuff?
I can follow it.
Right.
So I can follow it. So I've done like tiny bits of musical theory. So if you were to put something in front of me, I could follow it like a chimp playing a piano, like ding, 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 on sheet music. But to like play something well, no. But that's something that I really want to get into next, because I feel like they feed one another. Oneness isn't hugely like necessary for the other. Like, you don't need to be able to do that, but to have that understanding, it just helps with the musicality as a whole.
I'm trying to get better at guitar, because I've always
You're
just
a guitar
been
player,
like
though, aren't you?
A good guitar player, did you say?
A guitar player.
Yeah, I play guitar, but I'm just trying, like, I've raised myself on guitar playing like Blink-182 and all that. So that's like that's the roots of where I came from, and then I started kind of listening to like my vocal. I feel like is based on Ryan Tedder and his
One Republic,
and his is I think he was more influenced by Jeff Buckley. So I inherited Jeff Buckley's like tone and stuff like that. So like, but on guitar, like I feel like you can tell that I've got like a punk rock sort of thing about it. So like I started listening to John Mayer probably about 5 years ago, and was like,
change your life.
I'd love to be able to play like that. Do you know what I mean? So I've tried to get a little bit better at it, but the thing that I'm finding with it is that the more that I learn technically, like the scales and stuff, it seems to be affecting my natural attraction to certain melodies when I'm writing. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm starting to think, right, well, that note doesn't go there, and it should naturally go there, whereas before I would just sing what sounded the best.
So that's almost like the kind of the balance between your emotional integrity, which is just your kind of raw aptitude for something, versus being technically proficient. Whereas if you're like super like crazily talented at something, it's amazing, but to me, I kind of switch off after a bit. You know, like I've been to a few like jazz shows, and I love all kinds of music. I would never rag on anything, but see when like a piece of music goes on for like 15, 16, 17 minutes, and then it's like 9 songs, and you can see like there's some people are absolutely creaming themselves. They're just like, yes.
They're usually musicians.
I've done.
They're all usually Ian Hendry as well.
It's like I can take so much of that and be like, this is really good, but then after so long, I'm just like, right, you know. There's a friend of mine called Greg. He says, I don't want you to impress me. I want you to move me, and that kind of really like that spoke to me. So it's the same for me with vocals. Like my kind of attractor state always goes back to singing. I'm always listening out for singers and bass for some reason. I'm thinking bass. I don't know why, but like a nice tasty bass line just feeds me.
A good rhythm section is, I think, what makes people dance, and the voice is what makes people.
I'm totally spoiled with Ian though, because he's just he's like drums turned into a person. It just seems to like be able to do everything. I'm like, easy. And then you do a gig with somebody that's like not quite so like intuitive. So I'm not going to say not as good, because that's not a thing, but like not as intuitive, and it's like a little bit more like but it still has its own fun.
It can just speak with the drums. It's crazy, man.
It's insane.
I have a duo that I play in like bars with, where it's just me and acoustic guitar singing, and I'll play with a drummer with like a little kit, and he depped for the drummer that I play with, and we had a fucking ball, man. The place wasn't even that busy. No one was really giving a shit about us, but I had a fucking great time, man. We were just like absolutely loving it, man.
But that translates as well. I think when you like enjoy what you do, it translates a lot more. Like I've seen a lot of miserable people in like bars singing and playing music, and you're like, you hate it as much as I hate it, because you hate it. So like, if that makes sense. But no, it's. I totally lost my train of thought. Where were we talking about? Intuitive music, blah blah blah.
Yeah, just I don't know where we were going.
But this is what happens with my YouTube videos, by the way. You'll see loads of heavy cuts, and it's because I start talking, and then I just go. Just forget, man. And then there's like 14 seconds of me just
that's
like
what's good about
frying.
podcasts, though. That's the good things. You get to capture the
rawness.
Yeah.
But so like vocal wise. So if I was to put like the question back to you.
Okay.
So your vocal style comes from like Ryan Tedder, which comes from Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? Like if you were to try and describe that without singing, and someone's like, what do you sound like? And you can't use the name Ryan Tedder or Jeff Buckley. Like what does it sound like to you? And there's no wrong answer as well, that's the other thing.
Well, I kind of, funnily enough, before I discovered your channel, I'd watched this other, sort of similar to yourself, like a vocal coach reacting to singers, and they were talking about Jeff Buckley's voice. Was it you?
Maybe. I've done Jeff Buckley once.
Buckley?
Yeah, I've done him once.
It was you. It was your video that I watched.
I watched this person like you, and he was you.
It was you. It was a guy who is from a completely different place, looks completely different from you, but he looks exactly like you, and he is you. I think it was you.
It might have been.
This is like the end of Stan. The end of Stan, where he realises that. Wait a minute.
Damn.
It was you. And they were you were talking about like he got his inspiration from an Indian singer, is that right? Or like the style of singing?
The way that he kind of goes up and down a scale and he kind of shakes over it was very like shamanic to me. And I find like he's got a very like laboured vibrato in parts. But again, this to me is like talking about like technical style. So I'll talk about people's voices as being like smoky, right? So smoky doesn't mean anything. But it translates into something that people can kind of understand. So if I'm talking like, oh, they're doing like an aspirate onset and it's turning into like thin folds and then they've tilted their like whatever, it's like people kind of get lost. Whereas if I go, if it's smoky and I was to say, can you sing that like just a touch more smoky? The idea, or misty, the idea in your head is that gets a bit airier, and then they do it without really realizing. So you're kind of training by imagination. And that's then cool. Once you've got that kind of bit in place, you can go, now what that is called is this, that, and the next thing. So if you were to be going with another teacher, say that's proper, like focused on everything being its proper term, that's called aspirate, that's called smooth, that's called glottal, that's called whatever. So I try and mix between those kind of terms. I don't think that,
well, me specifically, like I don't think that a lot of people that would be watching, I think there'll be singers like myself, maybe even not singers, just fans of that particular singer, who would probably tune out from hearing just specifically the terminology.
Oh, totally. See, it was the biggest learning curve was starting out. So first of all, I put the camera like so far away from myself and it was on my phone. So I just looked like this tiny little person. I was like, hi. And there's this huge video. I looked like I could climb in. And I would just go on and on and on and on about stuff because it's interesting to me. Because that's like where I sit in the world is like in a vocal place. I could talk about vocals for hours. But then you just get loads of comments like, you talk too much. I'm like, I know I talk too much. Like, you're watching me talk though. And
so
then
were the episodes
longer? So
if
you go back and look for like tiny little thumbnails of me sitting on the other side of a room, that's where you'll kind of see most of them.
It's crazy, man, because you could put up like a 20-minute video and no one would watch it, but then you could put up the same 20-minute video in 4 parts and people will watch the 4 parts individually. Yeah.
And there's like, I try and make each video, I don't try and make, they just always end up being around 12, 13 minutes, somewhere around that. So if the video's about 5 minutes long, I'll try and cut it. And I only ever cut it when I hear something as well. There's a lot of folk that will like pause over and over and over again so that copyright doesn't like infringe them or whatever. I don't really care. Like, so if I hear something notable, I'll stop. I'll talk about it and then I'll keep going and whatnot. But I like to try and at least give a little bit of attention to certain qualities so that people at least think they're getting like a tiny bit of information. Whereas there's other ones that will just sit and watch and go, wow, that's singing. Wow. For like, and then it's like a 4-minute video.
I'm going to start doing that.
I mean, I almost want to do like edits, because the ones that go, you talk too much. I'm like, I link the original video. Like, just watch the original if you want to, and then come back to me and you can listen to me chat.
There's something about it though. Like, I never thought that would. I don't think anyone would probably have ever thought that could be a thing. Like Gogglebox.
I know,
like,
watching people watch stuff.
But for some reason, like there's these two black guys in America. Like I can't remember the name. Something like Frankenstein's Lab. I want to get it right so people can go and check it out. But they just sit and react to like comedians. So they'll watch like sketches. They'll watch like bits from stand-up and stuff, and they're just stoned out their box watching it, man. And it's just like the most entertaining thing on the planet. These two guys killing themselves laughing.
There's a girl called Brandy. She doesn't watch anything, but she gets absolutely baked on edibles.
Right.
So people send her edibles, which I think is insane in itself, because she just opens up like, oh, gummy bears. And she's like, oh, it says it's this much. It says it's that much. You don't know. And she'll like eat the whole thing, get absolutely baked. So, and then she'll come back an hour later and try and make a costume. Right. So she'll turn herself into the Grinch or like Pennywise the Clown, and it's hilarious because she's just useless.
That's like one of those memes that's like in the 80s, in 2019 or 2020 we'll have flying cars, and then it's like that.
No, we're just watching stoned people do stupid stuff. But yeah,
sounds about right.
I kind of want to do Eurovision steaming.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know how Terry Wogan used
react
to
to it or go on it?
Yeah, no, watch the whole thing. So Terry Wogan used to drink like a bottle of Baileys.
Right.
And the longer the night went on, the more funny his commentary got. So I kind of want to do it.
Who was this? That was like a sketch in Scotch and Rye. What's his name?
Scotch and Rye?
Ricky Fulton. They would do like the priest or the minister talking to the camera.
Oh yeah, Jolly. What's his name?
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. He would just sit and he would think it was water, but he was actually drinking vodka. Yeah. You should totally do that, man.
That's that's going to be my next react. But that literally will just be going, wow, singing, possibly sleeping by the end of it.
I seen on your channel the videos of, is it Kaylee, did you say? Mm-hmm. Yeah, of you and Kaylee sitting in the car singing. They're really good.
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of got the carpool karaoke type
yes.
vibe about it, but it for some reason felt different watching it. Because I suppose because it's got no backing track.
No.
Really cool.
Was that Sisters with Voices, SWV, what the hell's it called? Week. Yeah, we were sitting outside waiting to go into a wedding show. Right. And we were just like, oh, let's try it out. Mm-hmm. Like, the good thing about, like, when you find somebody to sing with and you just kind of lock in, doing stuff off the cuff's like super easy. It just feels a bit more kind of natural.
Yeah.
So I will sometimes, if Kaylee's singing the main line, I will go above it. I won't go below it, which is kind of gives it a weird dynamic because usually the male voice will sit underneath.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an intuitive thing. Those ones don't take long, and if they do, then I put up the outtakes as well. There's one where I've got a selfie stick.
They really work, man. I don't know if it's worthwhile putting them on your main channel as well.
There was one we were driving to Aberdeen for a gig, and we filmed a bunch, and it's just horrendous.
Really?
Yeah, because the phone is stuck to the car, so it's just like, and then you think you sound great because you're in a car and it's a little closed space, and you listen back to it and it's like, this can't see the light of day.
That judder's probably why James Corden uses the tool that people were annoyed about.
James Corden. Can't even leave us alone. He's in America. Oh no, I've got to be nice. That's the thing about being online. Yeah. It's like you have to be very careful of like slagging people off.
Americans are fine. It's just when people from here go to America and kid on they're American.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
James Corden though. There's already one video of me saying that I don't like James Corden.
Yeah. Okay.
So now there's a podcast.
That's what the episode's going to be called.
Yeah.
Sam Scott-Thorne hates James Corden.
If I ever get to the point of like getting interviewed on the Late Late Show, this will all just come back to haunt me. Like, oh, play.
Could totally get to that place, man. Do you watch Hot Ones? No, it's what's the guy's name? I can't remember the name of the interviewer. He's like one of the best interviewers I've ever seen. But he basically they'll sit with like 10 hot wings, and there's 10 hot sauces for every wing, and they get hotter as it goes on. And there's also a question for every wing. And he'll sit down with celebrities, but he's basically got to the point where like he was on like Jimmy Fallon and all that. Like,
what?
It's crazy, man. And it just started on YouTube.
It's meant. See where YouTube can take you. Is mental. I was on the front page of a Malaysian news website the other day.
The front page?
The home page, yeah.
What did you do?
I reviewed a Malaysian singer.
Right,
cool. And actually I reviewed a Malaysian singer, and I think maybe this kind of got lost in translation. Not that specific person. But at the end of the video, I was like, oh my God, she's just amazing. Like, so basically all I have to say is like, please come to Glasgow and sing for me. I said, or I'll come to Malaysia, let's just make it happen. Mm-hmm. Just like a throwaway kind of comment, really. And the whole article was like, he wants to get her to Glasgow, they're going to perform together. And I'm like, oh no, she's on like a huge stage doing some like crazy thing, and I'm in my living room in Glasgow. I don't think she's going to be like knocking on my door anytime soon. But I'm like, you stick me on that news website, I will take all the traffic.
It's funny, man, because like your show will get to the point where like your room will become a platform for people to go on, man.
It's cool. Crazy.
It's
good fun
the way
though.
things are going.
Sippy time.
Yeah. Here's the awkward sip.
I got one of these bottles and I hate it. And the thing with like the straw that goes to the bottom, you basically have to like soak. So I'm not a fan.
It's bad. The only like sort of training that's like leaning towards what you do. Mm-hmm. I haven't even had training, right? I basically definitely didn't download Brett Manning's CDs. Do you know Brett Manning? No, he's an American like vocal coach, but he does like Hayley Williams. He was hard from
Brett
Paramore.
Manning. Oh yeah, yeah. I know her.
So he taught her, and there's a few other people as well that are in that kind of world.
She's
it just like
amazing singer.
Yeah, like from watching his lessons with her, I sort of learnt how to change vowel sounds, and that helped me get to start being able to do like runs and stuff like that.
Vowels are so
not diarrhea,
important.
by the way, like actual vocal runs.
I have had a full video where I did. It was a 4-parter on the runs. Right. Riffs and runs. And it was with another girl singer that had come in to chat about them, and the whole time I'm like, we're not talking about shitting ourselves, just so that anyone from the UK knows we're not talking about shitting ourselves. It's purely vocal agility. Melismas, as they're called.
Would you agree with that? With the vowel sounds make it changing the shape?
Totally. Okay. And the thing like as well, that I don't know how much it's used in like proper singing teaching, where they're like, get me an ah or an oh, but you've got the space in between those notes, so you go ah, like that's a whole spectrum that is connected from one to the other, so you can play about and like let that kind of see what it does to the resonance. But vowels super important. Like if you go from an oo sound to an e sound and you make it kind of nasal, you can split your tone, and you can do overtones on top of that, so that you can actually sing 2 notes at once.
You need to show me that.
I can try. So hopefully you'll hear like a droney kind of sound, and then like 3 notes.
Okay.
Do 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 do, or whatever. I don't know what it'll sound like.
That's crazy. That's nuts, man.
So that's called polyphonic singing.
If we were in front of an audience, they'd be clapping right now. That's crazy, man. That's nuts.
Yeah, I learned that in an hour or so. Like, that's not hard to do, but it just sounds like when someone's like, oh, you can sing 2 notes at once. You're like, no, you can't. But you can. You're pretty much doing it all the time. If you look at your voice on a spectrogram, you've got like your fundamental note, so whatever it is that you're singing, and then it kind of goes, all your overtones build up.
The grit in your voice will be a frequency, obviously.
Oh yeah, yeah. No. Like when you strum a guitar as well, you'll have that same kind of thing. Ding,
the resonant frequencies.
All kind of, yeah. So it's the same kind of aspect. Not anything you can do with an instrument you can do with your voice, but
it's strange because you sometimes, like with EQ and stuff, when you're mixing, you try to cut those notes out.
Yeah, you like compress everything down.
It's quite interesting that they can actually add texture to the vocal.
Yeah.
Something I thought of just a second ago when we were talking about vowels, like I don't know if this is something that was taught in the course that you'd done, but one of the things I got from Brett Manning was like not just talking about the basic vowels, which are A, E, I, O, and U, obviously, but he was talking about like W. He looks at W as being a vowel when he's singing because it makes a ooh like a...
Yeah. I suppose, and Y's would have the same kind of effect as well. They kind of get you into the right kind of onset.
So he'll try and start on, like if he's writing a song, he'll try and open up with a W sounding...
So that it's smooth.
Yeah,
so that's kind of... falls into your kind of vowels as well, but it's also like your onsets. So if you've got like a glottal onset, then it's like a ba, ka, ga, na, very like punchy. Whereas your smooth would be wah, everything kind of glides in on the tone, or the tone glides in through the air almost. Right. But yeah, you could totally interpret that as vowels. The other thing that like I find so important to say about singing, teaching and vocal coaching all in this kind of big basket is there really isn't like a 100% certified way to teach everybody. So like what works for you might not work for someone else. If you've got a classical singer, for example, and then you've got like a Lewis Capaldi, they're not going to learn their vocal style the same way. They're just not. They sing completely differently. They use different larynx position, and their vocal folds are doing different things, and there's just a lot of different kind of recipes. I talk about recipes a lot on my channel because every tone that you make is a combination of things. So from your kind of like your nose all the way down to your lungs, all the way down to your core, essentially. So
do you think there's ways though, because probably Lewis Capaldi, I mean I don't know, but I would imagine that he would, unless he's getting support from a vocal coach, would struggle from gig to gig because of the way that he's singing. So well, I feel like it's something I wanted to get into because I've noticed on a lot of the vocal forums, like around the sort of scene that we're in with the function bands and stuff, they'll say that it's this same thing that I'm feeling after like halfway through a wedding season is like 3 gigs a week, and you just get to the point where you're wearing your voice down, even trying to support that with singing at the, like I don't know the technical terms, but I feel like I'm passing air through different parts of my throat to try and compensate for the wear.
So there's like a lot to unpack there, but so the Lewis Capaldi thing, let's take that first. He did a performance on, I think it was James Corden's show. I don't know why I keep coming back to James Corden.
Fuck that guy.
But I was listening to him and I was like, he sounds like he's gonna run into problems, or like he just sounds like he's really tired. And what's the name of his really famous song? Someone You Loved. Right. So Someone You Loved, he sings down the key. He takes it down. I don't know what it is, but he takes it down anyway. Because when you're recording it, they do it super, super high. Try and get the most emotional intensity out of you, and usually that's they interpret that as like how high can you sing. Drives me absolutely nuts. That like how high you sing is how good you sing. That's not the case. Like Nina Simone's a fantastic singer. Barry White's a fantastic singer. You know, if they're not doing whistle tones, like nowadays they'd be like, who? Totally, Barry who? So one thing with the whole like vocal fatigue thing would be like, it's effort levels. So if you're singing from the wrong place, so if you're singing purely pushing tension into your larynx area, that's just going to end up getting tired. It can't really sustain that. What you want to kind of do is push from your diaphragm almost. So think kind of belly up and let that kind of stream happen a little bit more controlled. I'm not going to say like stronger or better or anything. It's just, it feels a bit more controlled. You can kind of let go here a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, and I'm guilty of it, I think every singer's guilty of it, is sometimes you don't feel like you're singing unless you can really feel it. Yeah. Do you know, like you feel that grit and you feel that kind of push and the belt and everything. Sometimes it's completely like unnecessary.
That was something I had to change about my voice about just before I got into doing the weddings. But that was solved by getting in-ear monitors. So having in-ears really helps, because it just feels like you're singing in a room, so you're not trying to push it as hard, and then you can go a bit harsher with the compressor and stuff. Yeah,
as long as you're coming at the front, like right, like your levels are right. I don't think
I said that right, by the way.
I think, no, I was picking up what you're putting down. But yeah, you can kind of like play with textures and play with intensities and stuff, so you're not always going for this stuff. Also, people will sometimes perceive high notes as like the thing that they're like shooting for. I always picture shooting past it, like it's an afterthought.
Yeah.
So almost like it takes that kind of pressure off you hitting that note.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm already in when I'm up there. I mean, neither of those notes made any sense, but you get the idea.
I think I get what you mean. But so would you say you have quite a high, like your mid-range is quite high?
My actual vocal range, I think, sits more in kind of a baritone-y kind of place.
Right.
I bridge a lot lower than most tenors would. So where people can kind of belt higher than me, I'll flip into kind of my head voice.
Yeah.
Not necessarily my falsetto, because it's like an airier sound, but I'll go into like a sharp head voice, and I've sung the middle parts of like Shaka Khan songs and stuff, so like I can hit stupid notes.
Yeah.
But is my voice like high? Not necessarily. Okay. And that's another thing that annoys me about like classifications, like baritone, alto, tenor, soprano, whatever. It doesn't really take into account the exploration part of your voice. You can do a whole ton of stuff.
Totally, yeah.
Like you drop a larynx and your tone sounds low even if it's not low. Do you know?
Yeah.
So likewise, go high, it kind of gets brighter, and you can flip into your head voice and hit notes that if you were like, I have to stay within this little parameter, you would never really explore.
That was something that I seen in the Brett Manning stuff. Like, I know you said you haven't.
I'll have to go and look at him.
Even just look at the stuff that's already available on YouTube. It's really interesting. Like, there's one where he's sitting down with this guy, and I think it's like over 4 different octaves, where he takes the guy from like the lowest part of the fucking piano right up, man, and it's not to the highest, but you know what I mean. Like it's within that fucking region, but it's crazy, man. Like it's nuts. But that got me trying to work harder, because the singers that I was listening to when I started singing were like, do you remember Dashboard Confessional?
Yes.
So his voice is quite high, but I think he's done some damage to his voice from singing that high, and I was noticing the discrepancies in my voice as the years were going on. I would just like go straight in for those high notes. That's how he tends to sing. And it doesn't sound controlled really either. It's good that like if you listen to it on a track, it sounds amazing, but live, like it's really difficult to keep that up. Like I was noticing the problem that I'm having about 3 hours into a wedding, I was having like 20 minutes into a 30-minute gig.
Wow, because you're just like thrashing it.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing, is like you say a 3-hour wedding and a 30-minute gig. Like most professional like musicians that go out and do their own stuff, their sets are never usually longer than an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. When you're doing like weddings, and it only seems to be in Scotland, it's like 2 2-hour sets, or 3 1 hours or whatever, and you're like,
sometimes you get booked for the extra.
Yeah, like it's nothing, just like but all you have to do, well, all that you can do in that situation is put in songs that are easy to kind of coast.
Yeah.
You know, like songs that are comfortable. And yeah, like talking about the vocal fatigue and stuff. I would get a session with somebody that deals with vocal health, because there's things that you can put in place. Like I could tell you to put things into a more comfortable key, because 9 out of 10 times the audience don't even pick it up anyway.
Yeah.
No one ever says, oh, Lewis Capaldi sings that in a different key. They don't care.
Yeah.
The other thing is find out where to spend that effort. But also you kind of need to figure out what's happening with your vocal folds, what's happening with your anchors, what's happening with, you know, bits that you wouldn't necessarily be able to translate through speech.
Okay.
So yes, it's a huge combination of things, but breathing was one thing that really got me. Like, you know, the term like singer's breath, and you go so you've got enough to work with. That's kind of counterproductive. So if you take in like a really deep breath, right, and go to sing, all you're really doing is building up pressure behind your vocal folds. So when you go to like punch out, and this isn't true for everybody, so I mean take everything that's said with a pinch of salt from every vocal teacher there is. Everything will or will not apply to you. Just try it and see. But if you like push out on a big deep breath, like all you're doing is slapping like a lot of air and a lot of pressure against your vocal folds. Like, for example, if one of your kids, right, walked out in front of a car, and I know it's super dark, and you wanted to warn them that they needed to move, what would you do? You can't run, you can't move, you're stuck on the spot. What would you do? Shout, right? So you would go, kid, I don't know what your kid's name is.
Yeah.
Kid one, right? Yeah. But you wouldn't go, kid one. You don't
Mm-hmm.
take that time to make the most laboured and most effortful sound that you can make. It just comes naturally. You don't have to think about that breath. Whereas when we talk about singing, for some reason that sneaks in, that's pushed in. Like, no, you need to have a big breath to do this. But unless you're doing something that's super airy, like falsetto driven, you don't really need it.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that really helped my like vocal stamina, was not breathing as much. I'd lick my lips between phrases to take my mind off of breathing.
I feel like I'm letting, like I could sing like a full verse in one breath and it's slowly releasing while I'm singing it. I don't know.
You probably sing from your core then.
Right.
Like, because if you take all the air into your chest and go like that, you're kind of pressing down, and it makes everything deflate. Your lungs deflate faster. So if you like breathe in through your diaphragm and hold that pressure down there and let it kind of slowly release back up, it's just a more controlled way of singing it. So you've probably got a lot of things in place, and you wouldn't have had such a long career singing, you know, like doing 3 gigs a week and stuff, if you didn't have at least, you know, 70% of it down already. Yeah. Usually it's just a case of going in and like having that light bulb moment of, I didn't know that was a thing, but now I do. So, yeah. Awesome. I had the exact same kind of journey, shall we say? Yeah, I was like totally knocking my pan in, like losing my voice at gig 1 and being like, I've got 2 more to do.
It's a horrible feeling.
How am I going to do it?
Because especially, like, I've not had arguments with my wedding band, but like I've had like frustrations where like the guys can just dip out their position in the band, but like a lot of couples will book their band based on who the singer is, and you could have a singer that's got the exact same range and even same style or whatever, and it's just not going to cut it for them because they've waded through bands.
I dipped for a band years and years and years ago. I mean, I dipped quite a lot anyway. If I'm free, I'll do it, because why not? And it was at like half time, the bride and all her bridesmaids came up and went, excuse me, who are you? You're not our singer. And I was like, no, I'm not your singer's ill.
Are you asking
so
existentially
or who are any of us?
That should have been your answer.
As I like
perplexed.
Hot step out the door. But I was like, look, your singer didn't have a voice. Would you want like somebody to come and ruin your wedding? And she was like, it's nothing on you. You're actually probably a better singer, but you're not my singer. And I was like, I get what you mean, but at the same time, like, I think people forget that when you're dealing with like a human being, you know, like human beings are not robots. They do fail, and things don't work all the time. It's like trying to imagine giving a guitar to a guitarist and like making the ends of all his fingers completely raw. You know,
the
like
thing
every
that
time he
frustrates
touches
me
it, sore.
about their position in the band, I'm assuming like you're having a go at the band, right? But like they can be ill, right?
And still play.
They could still play, but they could also still just dep it out if they were ill.
Yeah.
But like you could be completely fucked, and
it's like a total stress.
Yeah, it's like a very, very last minute thing as well. Like if like 3 days before the gig you start falling ill and you're like, I don't think I'm going to get through this gig, like you still got like 3 days, so we'll just see how it goes. Wait till day 3 and then panic. Like,
and then you're scrabbling about for someone. Like, luckily everyone in Scotland seems to look the same. It's like, do you have stubble and sweepy hair? So I can like actually kind of sneak into quite a few weddings and nobody knows that I'm any different.
Like, you're taller than I thought you'd be.
Like, it's the videos. It's the just like shortened videos. But yeah, no, it's a total. It's one of those differences between like fronting and being in the band, and I don't. The dynamic is that like without this you can't do that. Like they both are essential, so it's not like taking away from one to praise the other. But if your singer's goosed, that can be a real problem.
Right.
Whereas, like you say, you could just get another guitarist and like, that's not our guitarist. And you're like, no, it's just a different one. And they're like, okay, they don't really care as much.
Yeah.
But there's been a few gigs where like Kaylee's been unwell or I've been unwell, and they could not care less.
Really?
Yeah. There's like, all right.
That's cool.
But I think that's the lucky thing about having two singers, is that at least they're getting one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like one of the two.
That probably meant that they booked the other singer. They booked the band bass and the other singer. Probably knock your confidence a wee bit.
I've done a few gigs where I've turned up in depth and they've
Why
been like, oh, we've seen your band.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were looking at you guys, but then we went with these guys. So I'm like, well, now you've got a bit of both. Aren't you lucky?
That's cool. It's crazy. I think I'll need to wrap up just with the
go for
time, just in case. I think the video is going to be running out soon. But thank you so much for doing this, man.
It was a pleasure.
I really appreciate it, and I'd like to get you back on again at some point. I feel like there's a whole world of shit
vocals
that we didn't speak about. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much. Like that's the thing. Like vocals is such an open-ended topic.
Yeah.
And I can talk for days, as people that hate me on YouTube will attest.
the haters are going to carry you, man. The more people hate you, the better.
Drink it in. Somebody said they were going to try and shoot me from a passing car.
Yeah. Cool. I would love to die like that.
Find me. I am tired. I've got a 3-year-old. Shoot me. If I
Imagine you died in a drive-by in Scotland.
Coma, what am I drive-by?
In Scotland? Like, that would be the best way to die.
I once got drive-by egged.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Threw an egg at me from Bath Street. Was that you?
Stuart that's here helping, man. He get drive-by fished.
You got fished? Like dead fish? Oh. The whole thing?
Some guy gets out, opens up his sunroof, while it's a fish, right off my chest, fish is lying on the floor, I'm absolutely golden scales, man. And I was like, what? Like, out of all the things that can happen in your life, man, I've been fished. That's so on.
Well, these are the things that make dinner parties fun.
Yeah.
You talk about the time you got smacked with a fish.
The
egg bounced off me, so it was actually okay. It smashed on the ground. I'm
awesome.
egg-proof.
That's a high note to end the episode on. Do you want to let folk know your handles and your
so it's actually just
channels?
My name. So Sam Scott-Thorne, and then session singer and
As
vocal
if you
coach,
don't already know.
I think.
As if you don't already know.
I don't know. I'll pin this to my YouTube.
Cool.
And then
that'd be amazing. Thanks.
Tag it on.
Yeah.
Tag it on.
Awesome, man. Thanks very much.
Thank you.